All right. So the talk after WrestleMania is about this new alliance that Seth got with Paul Heyman and now Braun Breaker. Who. Anyway, yeah, I just had to get my barking down. Uh, so the whole thing has been basically everybody's contemplating should they add more people, and if they did, what kind of people should they add? People were saying like, oh snap, get they evolution on. And some people saying, oh, there could be some Death Alliance thing that has some women in it. And then other people just like, God, well, y'all just gotta let them do their own thing, and why you gotta compare and just be with like why they gotta be acting like it's something else that's from the past. It's like cause all we do is just copy stuff from the past. That's why. I was like, there's not really too many things new underneath the sun. It's a new way to sort of add intricate details and stuff like that. But anyway, I was like, whether it's going to be in one of those forms or whatever, the Four Horsemen or something like that, I was like, remains to be seen. Now, should they add more members? I think that really just depends. I was like, if you want to, I was like, if women are on the table, then I was like, sure. I was like, yeah, then I think you definitely should add some more members. I was like, I think you should add more members in general. I'm on that line, but especially with the women, because I was like, for the longest time, I was like, I'll speak for me. I've been wanting them to have something like this, and that's why I was like so much. I was like, I think, and also I think other people wanted at a time when the bloodline was hot. You wanted Naomi in there. I was like, but now she's healed, so it don't even make any sense because her family's good. Nia Jax, she's still a heel, but I was like, never the opportunity never arose. So, and I was like, do you know how much that could have done to the rest of the women division if they would have like infiltrated into that and weaved that into that? I was like, it would have changed the whole thing. You thought the company was hot last year. It could have been scorching. Shh, don't touch that. I was like, your kid got blistered because they ain't listened to you and they touched it. That would have been how hot it was. But besides all that, that was in the past. I was like, here, there's already speculation that Becky Lynch could be it. That's what people talking about. And it's like cool, we know they real life couple. I think the problem is that, I mean, look, Becky did turn heel on the night that we got the reveal. Problem with that is, I was like, do you want the couple dynamic? Kind of like, and had it seemed to really work or be a thing in WWE, where it's like, yeah, we know these people are together, or whatever. We sort of see them passing by like a little bit, but we don't ever have a full on outside of like Rusev and Lana, or I was like, we haven't had the actual couple on screen. We last time they did that, it didn't go that well. But to me, I think that was just because everybody was over Vince's shit or whatever. With Barry Corbin and Lacey Evans. I think it was just that time period where people were just tired of Baron Corbin, Vince, and all this other stuff. Seth wasn't hitting at the baby face. It was a whole bunch of things that just wasn't going. This time around, and it would give Becky something to do. The whole thing with a lot of these older vets is that, hey, there's nothing for them to really do. This will give her something to do that's sort of new and different and unique as well. I do think that since they are both heels instead of baby faces like they was last time, if they whatever they do can help with the annoying factor, and I think they're savvy enough to get past the like doing like the couple stuff on there. They ain't gonna be any like like they win a match and they just about to slobber each other down. I was like on some live and dom type stuff or whatever. Like no, they're not. I don't think they're gonna do that. I think they're gonna probably just actually be a real power couple if they do that way. If they do add Becky, do you go with one lady or do you go with two? I was like, and this sort of goes also with the men's choice as well. If you do add another guy, which route do you go? Do you go with another younger person? Do you go to somebody that's on the outskirts of like just like it's like just needing that extra boost, that rub or whatever? Or do you get like an established veteran guy who is just like hasn't cracked that ceiling? So like for instance, Mello. I was like, I don't think it would be Mello. He's in the thing with Miz, so he already got his little veteran leadership. But him and Braun were basically 1 and 2 at NXT. So why not take the next prodigies or whatever? I had to make a rhyme. and do it that way. That will also be Batista, Randy Orton kind of thing, where it's like both dudes are young, but you got the muscle, and then you got the sort of guy that just like finesse your way through. I was like, you can do it that way. I've seen people, cause I was like, this is where I was talking about, I was like thinking about somebody that's on the outskirts where they're not even being like sort of thought about, but still get the rub off of it. I was like, I seen people do Austin Theory, and I was like, I think that would have been good. I just don't think it'll work now. Not that I was like, I think he's so low that it wouldn't. If he got on the squad, everybody be like, oh, and I think it put a damper on the squad. Actually, to be honest, in a way they would have like I feel like it couldn't be a reveal and be like, oh my god, it's Austin Theory. I don't think that's going that would be a thing. Now you did like a storyline where you almost like how you did Dom, where you sort of like recruited him into your thing or whatever. I think that could work. I think that he's young enough to where it's like he can still get a boost and a rub off of it and sort of rebrand himself. But at the same time, where I think the problem will come in with Austin Theory is pretty much not that he's so far away where it's just like he's sort of down the dump thing. I think it also be too predictable of we would know that they would probably go the Randy Orton storyline of he'll get kicked out, them trying to turn him babyface. It'd be so predictable. Also, with the fact that it's going to be kind of lackluster especially at the very beginning or whatever, that I think that people would just be like, "Oh, it's Austin Theory, cool." I mean, I guess, yeah. Yeah. I was like, now where he's at, I think is if you want to grab somebody of that nature or whatever. I'm gonna say there's not like too many people I think in WWE that is in that realm right now. Though to be honest, I think everybody else is a pretty much prominent, you know, like you sort of know. Like I was like I said, like a veteran that could use this extra boost. I was like, it's somebody like not Andrade, like necessarily Andrade, but like that ilk, Andrade, Humberto, Angel Garza. I was like, but they're already in their own little thing over there, so just can't snag them. I was like, can't snag them either or whatever. But I do think it would be cool if they snagged like a person like that. Like they could, like they took Dragon Lee from LW and it was like, no, Dragon Lee's over here, because I'm like, oh, he's actually gonna do some cool stuff now. That he's gonna be in something. Now, if they took Humberto or whatever, I'm like, cool. I know he's going to be in something or whatever. I'm just giving out names. I'm not talking about they should be in there, but that's the people that they should go up there and get. I was like, but I was like, now they went to the draft. That's a different story, because that could a lot of C's hitting that keyboard. That could cause a lot of intrigue of if they bring somebody up, like say they get Ego, and Ego immediately goes right into their table. I'm like, that's what I was like, that could work or whatever. But I was like, there's not really too many. WWE had done a pretty decent job of having a lot of their people good enough to not necessarily need this rub. Like I was like the Braun Breaker doesn't need this rub, but it tells us that he is now main level. We knew that he was going to have that jump once he lost the Intercontinental Championship, but now that just tells us he's about to go to that next level, or whatever. Obviously, at the Apollo Crews, they can take now they're playing not Apollo Crews. Yeah, I think it'd be more intriguing also if they decide to do like a tag team, like say that for instance, that's like they don't need it, but I was like, okay, actually, I was going to say somebody like New Day. New Day doesn't need to need a New Day. But I think it would just be funny. I don't think they would do it. But if they add it Pretty Deadly, just because I think it'd be really funny if Pretty Deadly and Seth Rollins are all basically shopping at the same place, and Braun Breaker in his hoodie is just looking at them like, what the hell? I think that'd just be sort of funny. I was like, they could all go shopping together, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, for someone like Pretty Deadly, though, if we're being honest or whatever, I know they got their little silly gimmick or whatever, stuff like that. But I think that as they show more seriousness, it's not too long from here. And their silliness, while it can be, I was like, really silly, I was like, I have toned it back to think to show that if they was doing something that they can make it balanced. It can make it work or whatever. Deadpool trying to prove to Marvel that he can fit in their universe type of funny, I guess. But yeah, I was like, if they did a tag team, I was like, that'd probably be the only one I really think of. Kind of like, I mean, unless they, like, the thing is, how far we want to go with this? Are we going to go with this where it's like trying to be some domination thing? This would have been great when they had AOP, kind of like that. I mean, they wouldn't use them because Seth already had them or whatever. But that would have been like the cool type of bodies. I was like, that's unique. I was like, New Day would be cool, but I think they're gonna do something else with New Day as well. Yeah, I was like, I just want to see what they pluck from that people. Now, as far as women going, I was like, I already talked about Becky or whatever. I was like, not gonna do anything like they're not gonna do anything like a Nia or nothing like that. I was just thinking of like dominant women or whatever. To me, I was like, could you snag somebody like, for instance, like B-Fab, someone who was still like go young, you do it that way. Like, I know Becky had her issues. He got to play with Lyra, and that seemed like that going to be a young versus old type of vet versus the mentor-y kind of thing. But I was like, but you get like somebody like B-Fab, or especially all the women that's coming up in NXT. I was like, snag one of them. I think the NXT route is where they need to go. Is basically somebody from there. Automatically throw them in there. Give them a storyline. Give them that rub. Give them that boost. Give them that jump. Give them that leap. Give them. You get where I'm going. But yeah, I was like, yeah. I know I didn't really give too many people that it should be. Just more the route of how they should orchestrate it, I guess, or whatever. I was like, but I do think they should go 5 deep with this. I was like, at max, they shouldn't go past 5. I was like, that might be a lot because I know they got Judgment Day and Judgment Day doing their own thing or whatever. Not like we haven't had 2 or 3 factions on the show at the time. I was like Bloodline, LWO, El Phantasmo, Judgment Day. So we've had enough or whatever like that. But this could be the big storyline to carry throughout the whole year at the same time. So why not just go ahead and just do that? Now, surprise of, I don't think they would do it. They just won in a TLC match. If they got like Angelo Dawkins, which I think they should go Dawkins, just because I was like, then Montez, I think has everything where he'll be fine in comparison to Dawkins. Where I was like, Dawkins, I think will need the boost as well. So this is more the long term of that way. Yeah, you put Taz in there, he looks like a star. He with that group, all that other stuff. But I was like, what are you doing here? Because I'm like, now you're gonna leave Dawkins in the dust. And I was like, unfortunately, he is the Matt Hardy in this situation. So I was like, where it's just like, we already see the star. Where does that leave you? Short end of the stick. And I was like, put him there because the other one got it. So go ahead and we give you something. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, what do y'all think? I was like, who should be the extra members? Should there even be any extra members at that? Let me know. Type it down. Tell me about it. Yell it out. Put it in all caps. Whatever you want to do. But until then, we will see what they do. Peace. I'm out.